Okay, let's talk a bit more about that rescue operation, what that would be like for a pilot stuck in that situation, and how they train for something like this. So, for that perspective, we have reached Willard Shepard in Miami. He's a former U.S. Air Force fighter pilot during the Gulf War. He's also obviously a veteran of that war. He's also an aviation attorney. Willard, thank you so much, sir, for making time for us today.
No, it's a happy day in a sense for these families, all of our families. And our U.S. military forces. You heard Mr. Todd just say what an incredible operation that this is. And it's an integrated operation with so many different forces to be able to do this. And it's really a testament, forget about the politics and those types of things for this moment, that they were able to go in and be able to rescue this downed colonel who had been the weapons systems officer in this F-15 aircraft.
Willard, let me ask you about your own experiences. Now, I know that you, fortunately, were never shot down. You were never captured or in enemy territory in that vulnerable sort of way, but your plane was shot at. So what is that experience like? Can you, if it's comfortable for you, take us to that moment and how you're processing it as you're being fired on?
Well, we're all trained for this, and to really focus on what you're talking about now, and I have to be very limited with what I can say about the inner workings of how one of these rescue operations works, because it's one of the most highly classified things that we do in the United States military. But those of us who were trained to fly fighter aircraft, as this crew was trained, goes through a search and rescue training, survival training, all of those types of things to be able to handle yourself alone on the ground if you end up in this situation. And then the special operators, I call them the super airmen, super women who come from branches of the service in the Air Force, in the Army, in the Navy, our pararescue forces. They have incredible training, not only to fight any forces that are coming forward. The information I have is that there was a tremendous firefight on the ground as the race was underway to try to capture our downed airman and to get him back. Of course, the Iranians were looking for him, their forces from the Iranian National Guard, also the police in that area, and they had put out the word, put a bounty on our aircrew members' head to try to capture him and capture him alive. And that at the convergence of all of those things was a tremendous firefight. The aircraft that I flew, A-10s, is part of this close air support to provide protection so those forces can go in there and take out anyone that is approaching them. There are Black Hawk helicopters and other helicopters involved to actually get the special forces on the ground. And these men and women are really trained in top physical condition to actually, and the word we have is that this aircrew member was injured. They could have carried him out of there, have the physical skills to be able to do that. And this is a real integrated effort and a real testament to the fact that we will not leave anyone behind. And it was executed and brought great relief to the person's squadron mates and also their family members. And to that personal note, there were days where we had aircraft shot down when I was out flying on sorties. And I always made sure that when I got back on the ground, I spoke to my mother and my family. One of the most powerful conversations I ever had with my mother was when I got back on the ground and her words to me, and I could hear the terror in her voice on the phone. She said, "I thought it was you." So great relief today that we had this airman back.
Let me ask you about a possible, there's two worst case scenarios. One, that the pilot crashes into Iran and dies, or I should say the airman. But the other scenario is that he would have been captured by the Iranians. At that point, what would he have to do? What would the American military do?
Well, I'll put my lawyer's hat on for you for a second and say there are rules of war under the Geneva Convention that need to be followed, where a prisoner of war, which is what he technically would have been certain provisions and rights that they are accorded to. Now, the question is, are the Iranians really going to do that? And one concern that I have heard and mentioned by some people is saying that because of the rhetoric of the President of the United States and the types of things that he has been saying, his political opponents believe that it's putting our air crews in danger because then it gives open door, in essence, for those rules of the Geneva Convention not to be followed. So fortunately, we don't have that situation. We can all see how the Iranians would have tried to use him as a propaganda tool, which is why the bounty that they put out, and on their news programming, they were saying that they wanted the person captured alive for those purposes. And fortunately, none of that is going to take place. But it does indicate that despite officially what is being said, and Mr. Todd mentioned this, that air superiority, we may have it from a pure technical sense in that we are dominating the skies over Iran. This clearly shows that there is a danger that exists to our aircrew members. And as these missions become more defined, going after lower level targets that are closer to the ground, shoulder fired missiles, heat seeking missiles, and actually just regular ground fire from arms and weapons become more of a threat. And that is why, in a way, we saw the second aircraft, the A-10, also shot, but the pilot was able to get back over Kuwait, eject, and is back safely with their squadron. But that is a danger going forward.
Let me ask you about some of the rhetoric that we're hearing from the U.S. president, not asking you to make a judgment on it, but it has been direct, it has been aggressive, it's been threatening to the Iranian regime. Does that put the pilots and the other personnel that are there representing the U.S. military in further danger? It's almost like the president is daring the Iranians to shoot them down.
Well, obviously, they're going to try to defend their country with whatever air defense systems they have left. The president's political opponents say it is putting our aircrew members in danger. Those of us who fly and the people out there flying those missions and sorties now have a tremendous amount of intelligence. They're going to accomplish the missions that were given to them with the intelligence, with the tactics, with the weapons that they have available, purely from a technical point of view. But that type of rhetoric, the president's political opponents thinks that it kind of sets a tone as to the Geneva Conventions, as I mentioned, going to be followed if we lose an aircrew. And it lessens the chances that they are. But clearly, aside again from any politics, this situation does show that the airspace is not free of any danger and that there are risks on any of these sorties going forward as long as this lasts. But it also shows the incredible ability to be able to go in and execute a complex military operation under fire to save one of our airmen or women if it becomes necessary.
Willard Shepard, really great to get your expertise on this story today, sir. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks for having me, and I'm glad that we got our airmen back.
It's our pleasure to have you, sir. Take care.